Well, welcome to another 3-minute takeaway. We got our full mug. Excited. I don't know if you remember or if you saw the first 3-minute takeaway where we restocked the mug. I mentioned that now it has quotes, it has prompts, and it has questions. So we're going to go down in here to this one. These are a little harder too because the way I folded them, I crumpled the last ones. It's a question. Okay, it's a question. Am I listening to respond or listening to understand? That's a good one. Am I listening to respond or listening to understand? A leadership question we should ask ourselves. All right, 3 minutes on the clock. One of the things that I struggled with early on in leadership was just giving directions. We often think as we kind of grow into leadership, that's all we have to do. Just give directions. Just tell people what to do. Put me in charge, and I'll tell people what to do. But is that leadership? No, it's not leadership. And you find short-term it works, but long-term, not healthy. So we actually have to listen to understand. Here's another thing to think about in leadership. The higher you go in leadership, the further you get away from the action. So think about if you're serving tables, right? You're right there with the guest who you're serving tables with. But then when you become a key holder and you start supervising and managing, well, now you're a step away from the people sitting at the table. And then when you become in charge of an entire area, now you're multiple steps away from the people sitting at the table, those direct interactions. And then when you're over the whole restaurant, now you're even further away from the experience that's happening in serving the guest. This is true in a corporation. When you are in the office, you are on the phone, you are in the meeting, you get promoted to be the supervisor, now you're a step away from the client that's being served. When you're in charge of an area or department in the entire office building, now you're a step away from the person being served than you were earlier. And so it's harder to find the problems. It's harder to serve those around you when you're not in those experiences. So if you are consistently listening to respond, to tell them what you are thinking and how it should be done as you grow in the organization, you're going to become disconnected from the problems and disconnected from the people. So listening to understand changes the game a bit. You're actually asking to hear the problems. You're actually asking to hear what solutions have been implemented so far. And then you're able to respond based on your experience to step in and meet the need. This is also important because we assume less when we do this. Anybody ever talk to you in your organization and you go, okay, I know what they're going to say. I know what they're going to say. I understand what you're saying. I know what you're going to say next. And then you just jump in. Well, how do you think they feel? I think they don't feel heard. They don't feel led well. They don't feel like you're helping to bring a solution to their problem. They feel like you're just telling them what to do. And in many cases, what I find is they know what to do. They're coming to get your support. They're coming to get you to come behind them and to serve well. But when we listen to respond, when we already know what we're going to say because we think we already know what they are going to say, then we don't serve well. And in the end, the guest or the client doesn't get served well, and the person we are leading doesn't get served well. So here's my encouragement. I know 3 minutes is already up. It just goes so fast. Here's my encouragement. When you're listening next time to somebody on your team, just pause, just wait, just listen, and then think about what you're going to say. Even if you got to say, hey, just let me think about that for a second. Okay, yep. Here's what I'm thinking. Don't just jump to the next thing you're going to say because that's what you want to say. Listen to understand, not just respond. Hope that helps. I'll see you tomorrow.